Very good.
And we are live. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to A Miles Better Conversation, the entrepreneurial series. My name is Colin Miles, aka the Numbers Guy. And each interview we're going to have with the various entrepreneurs is going to last for around about 30 minutes and will allow us to get some insight and tips from my guests. In this series, I look to interview a variety of entrepreneurs and we'll get them to reveal what drives them and how they approach their individual businesses, as I'm making it my mission to help as many small business owners grow, scale, and profit faster in their business. And today I'm really excited to welcome Anthea Mumby, the CEO from Dream Team Consulting. And that name in itself just conjures up some really exciting things. So I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation. And thank you, as I say, for joining us today. But before we start what I like to refer to as the Miles Better Conversation, and I do lots of the talking, it would be great, Anthea, to hear a little bit about you on all things Dream Team Consulting.
Excellent. Well, good morning, Colin. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and to speak with you and your audience. I have been an entrepreneur since I started working in my family business when I was in my teens. And so I first worked for my parents for 20 years, and then I bought the business from them. And I've been working with my spouse now for over 23 years. Right. So I love being an entrepreneur. I love family business. And I'm reinventing my business and my offer now with Dream Team Consulting, which is about helping family-owned businesses to focus on their vision and masterfully ride the waves to success.
Very nice, very nice. Like the signature message there. Very good. So where does Dream Team? What was the? I mean, I'm guessing you're building a team. In fact, I know that because I'm part of it. So tell me a little bit about what the Dream Team concept.
Yeah, so the concept is really about, when I think about my past experience in business, as I've built the right people around me, the right team around me, whether it was my staff or my external advisors, business coach, etc., that was really instrumental to my success as an entrepreneur. So I'm really taking that concept and my own experience and leveraging that in looking at how can I best support, as a consultant, family businesses. And it's by having a dream team that is also going to rally around family businesses and help them to succeed.
Cool, yeah, because I mean, as we all know, entrepreneurship can be quite lonely, and we also think that we need to be able to do everything ourselves, which isn't always the case. And I think that's probably what you're bringing to the table. Think corporate. Not everybody, they have lots of different layers. And as an entrepreneur, we try to think we need to do everything. So interesting. So cool. I'm sure we'll explore some more of your concepts as we go through. As we answer some of the Miles Better 10 conversation questions, feel free to elaborate and pivot and stuff. All about us and pitching what we do. So great. So we're going to start with the first question. They're not overly complicated, Anthea. I don't prime you with them ahead of time. So, but they're not going to ask you anything about, science or stuff that might make us look bad.
Oh, but, good. Thank you.
Exactly. I was sometimes people ask me for the questions. I'm like, no, I want to see your reaction. But it's great. So the first one is, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now, and how are you going to overcome this? What's your pain points at the moment?
I think it's really about my new, I would say my brand, going from having 40 plus years in the insurance industry and being known as an insurance, the president of that business and an insurance expert. And while I do still maintain my active insurance license, I'm no longer actively selling or servicing insurance clients. So now my challenge is for people to see me in a new light as this, as a consultant for family businesses. So it's getting the story out there. It's having conversations like this today and letting people know that there's a lot more there's different ways I can help them now outside of the product of the insurance product.
Okay, cool. Yes, and in fact, that's how you and I have actually come to work together a little bit more. Is we both pivot our businesses in this post COVID world. COVID obviously having an impact as I've also looked to develop the concepts of more than just being the accountant. So cool. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so, what is your focus at the moment on how to overcome that lack of or that change in brand and approach?
It's really about telling the story. It's about getting out there, telling my story, having conversations like this today, using you and I are both using the On Point Mentor platform, which is a great way to share with the audience, the people who are dialed into that. And speaking opportunities, speaking to, I gave a presentation last week to Family Business Group here in where I live in Waterloo. That's the number one thing, is just telling people, talking to, even this morning, I thought before I got on the call today, I thought, my voice is a little rough today because I've been having so many conversations. It's the end of the week, I'm going to have to rest the voice,
Yeah, I totally agree with you in that it's, the challenges, and we're doing so many more. I mean, almost, I think than prior to COVID, where you could go to a network and you moved around, you got the energy from the room. I'm finding the same, that the concept of the conversations via Zoom and via StreamYard and Facebook and all the others are so draining. But that's a challenge of being an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Yeah. All right. So it's all about obviously evolving and growing. So that leads nicely into how do you continue to learn in your business and your own personal in order to stay at the top of your game? And what might you share that as a tip with some of our listeners and viewers?
Well, I am a lifelong learner, and I am always learning. I can't imagine a day where I wouldn't listen to a podcast, read a book, have a conversation from somebody and learn from them. It's just every day. It's just part of my daily, whether you want to call it a ritual for success. It's just who I am. It's who I've always been. So constantly learning, constantly growing. It's just built into me. Okay. I can't imagine not having that.
Yeah. And are you finding with this transition in your business role that you're coming up against people who, well, I don't need to know that, or I don't want to learn something. I'm very comfortable in my little box. I'm sort of finding that as I pivot into other areas that they're like, no, I don't want to learn something new. And I'm like, well, I mean, are you coming across that as well? And how are you trying to overcome that a little? I might steal this, by the way.
There is sometimes that resistance that people are just, like you say, they're in the comfort zone, and maybe they're in a place right now where they just don't have the bandwidth to take on anything new. And so, I think on one hand, as a mentor, we need to be respectful of that bandwidth that sometimes the capacity isn't there. But we also have an opportunity to help expand that bandwidth and maybe just, push the door open a little bit to say, things like, have you thought about, or here is something I can offer to you, whether it's, you've created some courses or content that will help them see that maybe there are some other ways of working or thinking or transitioning through whatever's going on. And when they do that, be able to, take those steps to that continued progress and realize that ultimately this is part of, what makes people tick is growing. Once you have your basics covered, if you look at the, what is the pyramid, the human needs, right? The basics of food and comfort and safety. As we go further up that pyramid, it is growth that is important to the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, I'm finding similar challenges as you are, that people are like resistant and stuff. But I think that also can be some of the, again, that knuckling down as something new and taking action, which I know a couple of our joint mentors use those a lot about, taking action and trying to get that across and stuff. So cool.
Yeah, even if it's imperfect action, it's still action. It's still progress.
Yeah, I saw a great quote from Tony Robbins the other day, was that literally, even if you're trying, that's better than not trying.
Yes.
Just as simple as, having a go, face the fear, do it anyway. And in the sort of things, unless you happen to be the president of a country, most people have forgotten what you did yesterday if it wasn't quite right anyway. So
exactly.
I think you get a little thing.
Yeah.
So cool. As the numbers guys to entrepreneurs, I obviously work closely with lots of people on the numbers. It's the only reference I'm going to make to numbers. But what is your biggest fear when it comes to your business numbers? Either perhaps in your historical history, when you're obviously with your insurance company, and you and I have explored this a bit before, or in your new role. So what's your biggest fear at the moment with numbers?
Well, the biggest fear I have right now is my perception between where I want to be and where I feel I am. And so, that is Dan Sullivan's from Strategic Coach talks about this concept of the gap between I wanted to be here and I'm not. And so it's a matter of looking at that and going, okay, well, what is my fear around that? What does that mean? And, I'm an achiever. Like, I'm the first one to say I'm an achiever. I set high standards for myself, and I like to achieve things. I like to achieve my goals. So, I have to temper that. I have to look at it and go, okay, the numbers may not be exactly where I want them to be. So what am I doing to get the numbers on track? And what does that look like? What is my strategy around the numbers? And also managing that gap and my own expectations as an achiever.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Good. So yes, I mean, and again, that's some of the things which I try to talk with my clients about, is this real-time numbers, so that you can look at that gap and know that actually last month's gap got bigger because it was only last month you were looking at. One of the challenges I have always with new clients, so used to historical and the industry, when we're here in the US at the moment, we're going through tax season, and as I think same in Canada, and the UK tax season is about to start, and we've got some people who are looking at their numbers from 18 months ago as to going, oh, I don't know what, oh, that's where it went wrong, or COVID happened. I'm like, well, that was yeah. So I think you're right. So it's great that you have an approach to look at the gap. But, and I know from, I say, we're talking with you before, that gap, what that gap is from almost last week. So that's really powerful. So from the numbers guy, that's a big thumbs up, because so many entrepreneurs are just like, well, there's money in the bank, so I must be doing okay. Or there's no money in the bank, so I'm doing badly. Well, it's more than just that. So cool.
Yes.
So what's your best, next question number 4, what's the best compliment you've ever received in your business or personal life?
Compliment. Well, as someone who is always focused on vision, I love it when I share my vision and they're excited by it and they want to be a part of it. Right. And you're an example of that, Colin, because you're part of, what I'm creating on my dream team. So when people kind of, put their faith in me to come on, let's go on this ride together. I'm not going to say it's perfect, that it's going to be calm waters all the time. But let's explore this. Let's do this. Let's cheer each other on. Let's help each other. Just having people understand my vision and want to be a part of that, and in the past, in the insurance business, when I was recruiting staff, and the vision would be part of our conversation is, here's our vision. How do you see yourself being part of this? And people would say, yes, I want in for that. I want to be a part of that. That
Good.
was always very rewarding to me. And yeah, and it is now with the next business with Dream Team Consulting, having people, like I say, like yourself and others and clients that say, yeah, I want to be a part of this. How can I help make this happen?
Cool. And yeah, to come back to your opening thing about riding the waves, we don't want it calm, otherwise there's no waves. And you have a wave picture behind you, so you're certainly reminding yourself continually, and that's great.
Yes.
I was again talking with another client this week about resilience, and that's one of our topics for future On Point virtual things, and it's about surrounding yourself with success symbols, reminding ourselves as entrepreneurs that we need to just occasionally pat ourselves on the back.
Yes, we do.
So,
yes, we do.
And I think that's probably some of what your dream team will bring. I'm guessing as well that there is a team to support that family business who may feel that they're alone at the coalface and that they don't need to be. So cool. Exciting.
Absolutely.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Now, you took the leap to become an entrepreneur, you said, a fair few years ago. So it may be let's change, because the question was, what was the driver to take the leap and become an entrepreneur? But you've been one for many years. So what was the leap perhaps to go from being an insurance broker, company, professional services, to now being a business mentoring consultant? What was the driver?
Yes. Well, working with a business coach, working with a great mentor, and having somebody that I could talk to about where it is that I wanted to go, helping somebody get me out of my own head of, oh, I only know insurance, I can't do anything other than insurance, and start to open up other possibilities for me, and to kind of, be that, sometimes a cheerleader and sometimes a bit of a button pusher, if you will, at accountability that, could sort of say you're getting off track or this might not be the best approach. But help me realize that, working towards my purpose driven business is really and the best thing that would serve me well and my clients well moving forward.
Right. So again, yes, being able to take your story of how you pivoted and apply that into what you're bringing to the clients, and sometimes saying to them what you're doing, although you've done it for many years, isn't necessarily what your soul wants to do. I've had that myself, where I've pivoted 3 times in my career out of stuff that I used to thought I loved doing, and then realize that actually you no longer love what you're doing and you have to change. So interesting. Thank you. Well, you've sort of somewhat answered my next question, and you didn't know them in advance, but my question was, I believe life's a journey. So who's been your best mentor and why? So you somewhat have just said, well, that was because they helped you change and stuff. So feel free to give a shout out if you want, or if you just want to use a generic conceptual thing, that's fine as well.
Yeah. Well, for sure. In terms of a specific mentor, again, going back to my business coach, to Irina Mihaela, again, working with her, it's been 3 years now. I can't believe it's been that long, but it's been over 3 years. Really, again, having that trusted advisor to work with through a lot of changes, a lot of transitions, and phenomenal growth and personal growth as well as professional growth as well. And beyond that, again, there's so many. I mean, I've got, bookcases with hundreds and hundreds of business books. And you mentioned Tony Robbins. I've seen Tony Robbins. I've been to his business mastery and to his, three of his live events.
Wow.
And just and that's one of the nice things as an entrepreneur, when there's so many opportunities to keep growing and learning and I'm a huge fan of masterminds. So when I'm in masterminds, learning from getting mentorship and learning from the other people who are in the mastermind group as well. There's so many different avenues and so many different people that have mentored me in different ways. So yeah, I'm there'd be thousands, honestly.
No, and I think you're right. I mean, some of them are actual physical people that you interact with and we can communicate with, and other times it's just a great series of books. And you can, one of the things I always talk about, the most powerful set of books I read when as a junior manager, was the 1 Minute Manager series. But again, it's very simple, very quick and easy to read. You could read them on the train when we used to commute to work and those type of things. And, very powerful message. So I think you're right. It varies across the range. Cool. So what are some of the things you're currently researching right now? So what are some things you're working on? Are there any new? I know your whole concept's fairly new, so you might just say, well, everything. But is there anything? Is there a little bit like me, everything? And we're going through some training as well ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it's like a bit of this and a bit of that. But is there anything really that you're thinking, yeah, I'm honing on further, or is it still just the general, not so general, because it's quite a specific concept you're working on?
Researching. Well, in the Family Business Mastermind group, which you are a part of, Colin, having some conversations with people like yourself and the other people that are in that group, I'm learning a lot. I'm getting different perspectives and hearing stories. You shared your story of how you've pivoted. So researching, I think really for me, it's a research through the conversations that are happening. And just I love to hear people's stories, and I love to hear their why and the tips that they share. So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Good. And one that seems quite topical at the moment I'm seeing it quite a bit recently in the press about, in interviews. So if you were to go back in time and talk to your 21-year-old self, and I think you have a hot tub from personal understanding. So a bit like the hot tub time machine movie where they jump in and it goes backwards. I love film references a lot. So what might you say to yourself if you were to go back now?
Oh goodness! Well, that was just a couple of years ago, right? So I'm not going back to.
Exactly. What did I say to myself yesterday? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Yes, indeed.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know it kind of keeps coming back to the same concept, but build that team, build that dream team around you. In my earlier days, so at that point in time, I would have been still working for my parents, and I'd been in insurance for a few years. And I would say that having a team around, and we weren't at that point where we had a big staff, but having some more external advisors and a team around, because it was just my parents and me then, right? That would have been, it's that whole concept of you alluded to it before, don't put all the weight on our own shoulders. As the entrepreneur, have people, mentors, advisors, a team around you that you can reach out to. Have a numbers guy on your team that really wants to see your business succeed and can help you with your thinking. An HR professional, because we built our team up to around 15 people. So having that, I was doing too much of my HR on myself, and it wasn't my passion. I could do it, but it was never my passion. So having an HR person. So again, having that team would have really, that's what I would do. I would go back and say, build a great team.
Well, that's ultimately where you've got to, isn't it? So, that's, if you could have got there perhaps faster and earlier, then, but hindsight is a fabulous thing. And we just have to live that when we were 21, we thought we knew everything anyway. I certainly thought I knew everything. Worked with my parents and the same thing. Like, we don't need to do that. And I'm like, okay, maybe we should have listened. Stuff. So cool. So if you had to think about maybe one top business tip that was your sort of go-to tip, what would it be?
Vision. Get that vision, get clarity around the vision, and don't let it be like that strategic plan that sits in a bookshelf, on the shelf, or in a file. The key is share it. Share the vision, give people the opportunity to either say, this isn't for me, thank you very much, but it doesn't align. Okay, great. Or say, wow, I am so excited by what you're creating and I want to be a part of that. And how can I help contribute?
Right. Okay. So, makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. And I think you're right about we spend so much time, and if you do get around to doing it and we think, yes, it's finished. Right. What's next?
Yeah.
The very word vision is something that you look forward to, isn't it? And
Yes.
looking into the future and whatever. And it needs to be fluid. It's almost like it needs to be swirly clouds and things like that. And it changes. And I think you're right that, again, that comes all the way back to your key message of having the right advisors to say, okay, we had this vision to go this way. I'm with my finger, but we're going the other direction, and that would be a good example of working with the team to say, well, what happened to the vision? Didn't we think that we're supposed to be there and stuff? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Good. Well, the last and final question is a fun question, really. It's just to give a little bit of an insight into your personality, and there's no right or wrong with this one, obviously. The final question is our fun question, as I say. And what's your favorite movie or movie genre, and why?
I always say The Sound of Music.
Okay. And why would you say The Sound of Music?
It's the combination of, the scenery, that beautiful opening scene. I love to travel. Yes, yes, and singing. And I'm not actively singing, but I did do quite a few, and it's one of those things I keep saying I'd like to get back to.
Right.
And the
Well,
family.
Don't tell Stacey and Faye. They'll have you singing on one of the Mastermind City comments or one of their events. They have a way of wiggling in and going, I heard you sing.
Yeah, you never know, right? Yeah.
Indeed.
And the family, having the whole family, and all singing. What is the one song where they're all kind of doing their so long farewell, all for you do. Yeah. And the love story. Hey, I mean, who doesn't love a good love story, right? So yeah.
Again, all about, and that's interesting because we can bring that back. The big vision at the beginning, and then the nitty gritty, having to make the vision happen, and hitting road bumps along the way, and realizing that there's personal has an impact. So okay, that's really cool. So good. So well, so I really wanted to thank you, Anthea, for taking the time today to share your insights and thoughts and some tips. It's been a fun 25 minutes just getting to understand a little bit more about you and stuff, and your journey, obviously, of where you've pivoted. And I think that's really powerful in today's world, when both of us we've pivoted our businesses ourselves, and often we're working with clients who, when we're targeting people who are in a bit of a transition. In myself, they're coming out of being an employee and becoming an entrepreneur. In your case, they've got a family, and we know the dynamics of families can really change and add an extra dimension. Having also worked with my parents in the hotel industry as a youngster. Yes, so there is dynamics, good and bad, I think,
That's right.
And I hope that, together with the tips that you and I will talk about, will allow our listeners and viewers to certainly scale up and understand. If the listeners wanted to find out some more about you specifically and what you can offer, where should they go next, Anthea? What do they have that they perhaps some resource that they could grab? I will put it in the link afterwards, but feel free to sort of just tell us where they can go to get some more information.
Yeah. Well, if they are a family business, I would definitely encourage to come and join us in the Family Business Mastermind group. In that group, I do a weekly training every Thursday. I bring in guest experts like yourself to talk. And again, we're building a community there of family business owners. So you'll find me there a lot these days. So that would be the number one place. I mean, yes, I'm on LinkedIn and, Instagram, but the number one place for family business owners would definitely be in the Family Business Mastermind group in Facebook.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll pop the link in the comments. And if you're listening on the podcast, it'll be available in the comments. If you're viewing us on YouTube or Facebook, put it down below. And also we'll pop your main website as well, just because it's got some nice graphics and nice concepts, and it really just gives you some of your origin story. So cool. So I want to say once again, thank you so much to Anthea Mumby, the CEO of the Dream Team Consulting and Family Mastermind. I want to thank all of the people listening and watching to this episode of A Miles Better Conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments, as well as sharing this Miles Better conversation on your social media. We'd love you to check back soon for some new for next episode, in the series. So look out for more interviews. And if you'd like to be in the hot seat, as Anthea has been and others, then please drop a comment below, message me, Facebook me. I'm on every platform, as you can imagine. And as I mentioned right at the beginning, I'm also making it my mission to help as many entrepreneurs in 2021 become fluent in accounting, the language of business. And I'd love you to claim a free ebook, which is called The Accounting Translator, my 42-page guide written in plain speak, because that's what I'm all about, to help you become fluent in accounting, the language of business, to quote Mr. Warren Buffett. And simply visit lethenumbersdecide.com, where you can see the book, grab the ebook, find a little bit more about an online course that I've just launched, and generally more information. Thank you again for everybody listening and watching. My name is Colin Miles, aka The Numbers Guy, and this has been a Miles Better Conversation.